In Advanced MD, there are basically two types of batches that we'll be referring to. Now, as far as definition goes, the first batch, if you have a lot of documents that you're printing, but you don't want to print them throughout the day, one here, one there, you can actually assign them to a batch, so at the end of the day you can click on that batch button and it'll print all the documents. In other words, it's kind of a holding cell. The second type of batch, and the one that we'll be talking about now, is simply a running 10-key calculation of the charges, payments, and write-offs that are posted in Advanced MD. To begin keeping a 10-key calculation track of all the charges, payments, and write-offs you post to Advanced MD, up on the toolbar you'll see the 10-key calculator called Batch Entry. Click on it. Simply click on the Begin New Batch. It assigns you a new batch number and click OK. And as you can see here, I have 0 charges and payments because I haven't started posting payments yet since I started my new batch. After I've posted a few charges and payments, I can come back here on the 10 key, the batch entry, and it'll pull up the charges and payments, how many I've posted so far. Let me go ahead and post a charge here so you can see what it looks like. Go to the quick charge entry screen. I have one charge to post for today for Sherry Brown, and I'll quickly do this. Now my posting charges and diagnosis codes may not make sense, but again, this is a quick fix to show you what the batch entry will do. $150. After I process $150 and post it to Sherry Brown, and I post, let's say, more and more charges, once I'm done, I close out, go back to the batch entry, and you'll see that I've posted $150. And now that it's the end of the day, and I've posted all the charges, payments, and write-offs I'm going to do for that day, I can go ahead and click Close My Batch. Or if I'd like, I can click on the trial balance and it'll generate a report, basically a printable version of all the payments, charges, and write-offs that I've posted to the system in a little bit more detailed format. For example, like Sherry Brown, the date, service code, and any charges, payments, or write-offs. In any case, I can print this report, and this report may actually come handy. For example, let's say that you have 2 or 3 or 4 billers that will be posting charges and payments and write-offs. Have each one of them, when they close their batch at the end of the day, generate this report, print it out, have them go over any payment receipts and so forth to balance this report, and once it's balanced, they can hand it to the head biller, and then the head biller can go ahead and close the day and submit the claims. And then finally, once the report's generated and everything's balanced correctly, if not, I can go back, click OK, make some more adjustments of payments and write-offs, and then come back here. In any case, I want to close my batch for the day. You can leave these batches open forever, and if you do, it'll keep a running tally every time you log in. And every time you log in, it'll keep memory of the last batch that you had open. So be sure to close your batches. Clears it, click OK. Close out of Advanced MD, new day starts. Click on the batch entry, and then click Begin New Batch button. Now these other buttons for disconnect, reconnect, and reopening batches, basically what that means is that if you're in a batch here and you left some open, for example, I have I think about 6 or 7 or 8 batches still open, I can click on Reconnect, choose the posting date, and I think I started posting back in June, and the batches that I started posting way back in June 1st that I haven't closed, when I click refresh, will pull up here. So I can double click on batch number 6 for June 30th, and you'll see since June 30th I've still been posting charges at intermittent times and different days when I've reconnected to batch number 6. I can go ahead and do a trial balance, in other words a report, that will show the dates that I posted these payments and write-offs and charges. For whatever reason need to leave this batch open, I can disconnect, not closing my batch. If I do have batches that are closed that I want to reopen to make more changes, for example more charges and payments and write-offs, I can click on the reopen batch. It's basically operating off of the same screen here. Choose the batch last time you had it opened, or when you first started your batch, double click on it, and then you can see after you click refresh a new range, and then click OK. Now at this point I could close my batch and be done with it, or instead I'll disconnect. And then the reopen batch operates off of the same idea as the reconnect. When you click on it, you'll see the same screen. Go ahead and choose the posting dates, click refresh, double click on the batch that has been closed, and it will populate up here, and you can go ahead and click OK. Make any changes in the system, and then when you're done, close it, and it'll still keep a running tally here. Now, as far as the batch information goes here, it won't affect any claim submissions or anything else in Advanced MD. To summarize, creating a batch, it's not required. Basically, it's to help you and other billers in the office to keep track of their own charges, payments, and write-offs. So when it comes to the end of the day, it'll help you balance for your office a bit easier. For offices who have only one biller that will be posting charges, payments, and write-offs, it's not required, but it may be nice for that biller to still come in and start their own batches at the beginning of the day and keep their own running tally. The last field that we're going to cover here is the service date, and the reason why we're covering that last is because that one's not going to be used as often, if at all. The purpose of it is that if you have patients that are never scheduled in Advanced MD's appointment scheduler, they won't automatically pull a visit number or a service date. Now, when it comes to posting charges, you got to have a visit number and obviously a date of service. Well, we can't automatically generate a visit number here, but we certainly can set our date of service. For example, I'm going to click on the Begin New Batch, and it'll assign me a new batch number. And let's say I have a bunch of patients that aren't on the appointment scheduler here, but I want to start posting charges for a particular date of service for those patients. So what I can do is I can click on the drop-down arrow, and let's say it's back in October of 2005. Let's say October 3rd. Double-click on it. Click the OK button, keeping in mind the date of service or service date is October 3rd. And then I can start posting charges. We haven't learned how to post charges yet. No worries. We'll keep it very simple. I'll click on the patient button here to pull up a patient to post charges to. Type in the first couple letters of the patient's last name and hit the Tab key. Double click on Bart Simpson for this example. And then to post charges, I'm going to click on the Transaction Entry tab down at the bottom and click on the Charge button. Up at the top, you'll see I already have a visit number here and a date of service, but we're pretending that this patient has never been scheduled in the appointment scheduler. And because every patient, in order to post charges, you have to have a visit number and a date of service, I click on and generate my own visit number and date of service by clicking on the pink button here. There's my new visit number. And there you go. October 3rd automatically pulls in here because that's what we had, if you recall,